Hello everyone. Let's get into the diet update today. Weighed myself. This was weird. So, when I first weighed myself, I was 170.8. And I was like, what? Really? Then I used the restroom and I weighed myself again just to see if the weight would have changed. And then I was 170 straight. So I guess it just depends on how much you have in your body at the time, on top of just how good you are with sticking with your diet regimen and exercise regimen. Well, I thought that was pretty interesting. Anywho, let's get into what I ate today. I started with the 7 Sundays nut mix with the dried out strawberries and bananas. 5 grams of net carbs, by the way, just by themselves. I really enjoyed them. They were pretty good. Then afterwards, my sister made an omelet for me that had cheese, sour cream, and spinach. And I have to say, 2 big thumbs up. Really enjoyed that omelet. I even had some coffee to go along with it. Then, later in the day, around the middle of the day, I had some barbacoa made by our family friend. That was pretty good. I also give that one a big thumbs up. It was very flavorful and tender and hearty. Then, if I'm remembering correctly, oh wow, what did I have after that? Oh, I made some keto donuts, which was basically the exact same mix that I had for the keto cornbread muffins, but instead of using corn extract, I used vanilla extract and a dash of pumpkin spice in the mix. And I have to say, it was pretty good. Although I will mention that, I don't know, I felt like the texture was a little drier than the previous batch, and I think that mostly just comes down to the material I was using. Because I was using a tin tray like for donut shaped goods, whereas the previous one I used a silicone cupcakes, and I think those do a better job of retaining the moisture. Or silicone cupcake holders, I guess. Yeah. Did I eat anything else other than that? I had some coffee with filtered milk and xylitol in it. And that's pretty much it, I believe. Yeah. Well, any exercise? I actually did do some exercise today, believe it or not. A dedicated 15-minute workout session of chair burpees. I followed a guy on YouTube who I followed back in 2020 when I was bored during the pandemic and didn't have anything to do other than exercise. So I followed that guy's advice again, and he's basically like egging you on to do better and better as you're, using his instructional video to do the chair burpees. So I was listening to that while doing it, and I got a good amount of work in. I was working up a nice sweat, my heart rate went up, and I was breathing more. So I guess we'll see how those results turn out tomorrow, but I felt pretty good afterwards. That's pretty much the only major exercise I did. Alright, now that we're done with the diet update, let's get on with the daily update. Alright, so from what I can recall, it was just a day off, so it was honestly just if I could summarize it in one sentence, I spent the whole day watching YouTube videos. I know that sounds kind of, well, not kind of, really bad, like, but I guess it's kind of my addiction. Okay, maybe not kind of, it is my addiction. I first watched a video from Digital Foundry about the video game Pragmata, that is apparently a science fiction game developed by Capcom about a guy with like a kid who can like hack robots, and like he shoots the robots. Looks pretty cool, I guess. Looks like a fun game, I suppose. Another thing I watched that I can remember was this like hour-long video of a guy who decides to interview the man who took down his children. Although it wasn't what I was expecting based on the title. I thought it was going to be a guy who's like an actual, like, you know, intentional, like evil person. But it turns out that all of it was an accident due to drunk driving. Now, of course, it doesn't excuse the behavior, but what was interesting about the whole encounter of the video was that he owned up to his mistakes, and he got forgiveness from the man who lost his kids. So that was a very interesting thing that happened. He found in his heart to forgive him, and wow, he's got a lot of inner strength and patience for doing something like that. And I mean, hats off to him. That's something that I'm sure a lot of people would have a really, really difficult time getting over. But because I mean, it's not like he said he got over it per se. He still is affected by it every single day of what could have been, but he doesn't get drowned in the past. He accepts how he feels. He accepts what happened, and he doesn't let what happened in the past drag him down into the future. Instead, he acknowledges it happened and finds forgiveness in his heart for the man who did it, and moves on to more healthier life. And I just thought that was a very inspirational video to watch. And the man who did the deed unintentionally has gotten 20 years in prison, and this is all in Sydney, by the way. And his final message is, if you've got problems, don't drown your sorrows with drugs or alcohol. Face them head on and find where the problem is originating from and work on it instead of avoiding it. So I thought that was just an extremely inspirational video. I actually was touched by it too. Like, I kind of started getting teary-eyed when the guy found it in his heart, the dad, to forgive this man. It was a really interesting story, 100%. My sister even watched some of it with me. So yeah, that was something I watched today. What else did I watch today? Well, I listened to a new Simeon Jimmy podcast where they talk about a movie, and as I was listening to that, I was playing the video game Another Crab's Treasure on my Nintendo Switch. And then I realized, I'm pretty sure you can wirelessly connect the PlayStation 4 controller to your Android phone. So I did that, and it worked, and I decided to try playing Another Crab's Treasure on using remote play on my phone through my PlayStation 5. And it ended up actually being a far better looking experience because the game runs at a full locked 60 on the PS5, whereas the Switch, it's wavering performance between 25 to 30 FPS with extremely poor asset quality and image quality. So being able to experience the game that high of a level was a very cool thing for like a screen, because I didn't want to play the game on my PS5 in the living room because today was like 95 degrees and I mostly just chilled out in my room with the AC on all day. So yeah, that's why I decided to stay in here and do the remote play from my PS5 in the den into my room on my phone, using the PS4 controller as the main control input. Pretty awesome. Well, anywho, after about like 2 hours of listening to the podcast and playing the game, I wanted some coffee with the milk frothed up, and I tried what I could, but for whatever reason, the coffee machine was not frothing the milk like it normally does. So the results were pretty underwhelming. It was pretty much just like half a cup of milk and that was warmed up in some coffee with some xylitol. Pretty underwhelming. I remember like I was doing some research for like bank information and things like that, just to get a better understanding of my finances and where I'm at and where I need to go. I thought that was something important to do today. And yeah, I helped my mom bring in a new rolling ground planter device thing into the back of our house for the back garden. So that was pretty cool. I crushed cans that were in the living room and put them away in the recycling. So that's something. I got bored and wanted to make some keto donuts for us, me and my mom specifically. So I made those and we had that. Well, my sister was reading a interesting book. It was like a Christian book about how everything was created, was like the title, or I don't think it was that. It was something like that. But for whatever reason, the first few pages was about Homer Simpson from the Simpsons and him wanting something and not wanting a sign about wanting like cookies and milk, and the author just got on a tangent about that scene instead of realizing it was just a scene made for comedic effect to get some laughs. The author was really like digging into the law and ethics of the whole situation from The Simpsons. We didn't like it. It was just way too verbose. So we shut that down and we moved on to another book that was about the stars and the galaxies and the sky and how that relates to the Bible. And that was a much more focused book. I forget the title of it though, but yeah, we listened to that. That was pretty good. Or read it, I mean. My sister read 3 pages and I read 3 pages. Then my mom decided to go to sleep. Before she did, we realized that there's actually going to be the planets aligning tomorrow morning, super early, like 5 to 5:20 a.m. So I was doing a little bit of research to see if we could like catch them like early in the morning, and if there was like a good location. But the closest location to catch the stars or the planets align at its best is like 30 minutes from here, and that would mean I'd have to like wake up like at like 4:30 in the morning, and then like if my mom wanted to come, like we'd go and drive there for half an hour until we got to that spot just to see some planets in the sky. I mean, I guess I could justify it by saying, hey, It only happens every 15 to 20 years, so I should totally do it. But at the same time, I don't know. Half an hour drive at 4 in the morning does not sound like my idea of a good time, but maybe just go outside super early and look at the sky and just see where they are, and I don't know, if we can see them, then that'll be great, I guess. Then that's fine by me. Maybe take the lazy way out. But yeah, afterwards, we did that research. My sister went on a walk. My mom went to sleep. I did some chair burpees, and I got a good workout in. Afterwards, I listened to a meditation and meditated deeply for an hour, guided meditation. And afterwards, I greeted my sister after her walk. I decided to take my vitamins, brush my teeth, and then record this update video. And that was pretty much my day. Pretty much just a lot of sitting around, playing video games, listening to podcasts, watching documentaries, and a bunch of other tidbits like cartoons and things like that. But those are like the most memorable things I could think of to talk about in this video. So yeah, that's pretty much my day. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Take care.